Story 1. A haunting night in Hocking Hills as the chill returns. Grab your blankets and settle in for a long, shadowy, cold night, letting the darkness envelop you. My uncle, a passionate outdoorsman with a touch of hippie wanderlust, served in the Peace Corps in Kenya and Egypt, witnessing eerie rituals and the aftermath of grim events. A true nature lover, he bonded with a Native American friend, hunting traditionally with bow and arrow to stay connected to the wild, using every part of their quarry and never taking modern conveniences for granted. Together, they hunted deer. In southern Ohio's Hocking Hills, near the Appalachian Mountains, an area steeped in tales of off-grid, wild people, secretive cults, and chilling rumors of cannibalism. These rumors gained traction after a disheveled backwoods figure caused havoc in a nearby town. Later, diagnosed with advanced mad cow disease, a prion condition linked to eating one's own species, like cow consuming cow, or, disturbingly, human consuming human, especially brain matter. One clear full moon night, my uncle and his friend ventured deep into Hocking Hills to hunt. They set up a perch high in a pine grove clearing for a good view of the forest floor. Nature called, so my uncle left the perch to relieve himself, careful to avoid leaving a human scent. The moonlight guided him, but a sudden cloud plunged the woods into darkness. Without a headlamp, he waited for his eyes to adjust when a chilling, human-like scream, part laughter, part hyena-like cackle, pierced the air, reminiscent of his time in Kenya. Panicked, he sprinted back, dodging bushes and hiding behind rocks as the eerie sounds grew closer. This was a man who'd seen horrors abroad, yet he stumbled in fear. When the moon reappeared, he reached the pine grove clearing, heart pounding, only to hear more screams. Convinced cannibals were near, he scrambled up the tree to the perch, breaking nails in his frantic climb. Gasping, he warned his friend of cannibals, but his friend laughed, explaining the sounds were just deer mating, a rare spectacle they were lucky to hear. Relieved, they chuckled, planning to bag a buck amid the frenzy. Suddenly, a herd of deer charged into the clearing but froze, heads turning in unison before bolting away. Moments later, 3 or 4 ragged figures emerged, carrying what looked like a human body, their upper bodies stained with dark purple. My uncle's friend silenced him as they watched the group disappear into the night. His friend, now grave, counted arrows and chanted softly, insisting they stay awake. At dawn, they found the clearing empty, grabbed their gear, and fled to a ranger station. Breathalyzers confirmed their sobriety, and rangers found human blood in the clearing, matching a missing persons case. 3 arrows were missing from their secured quiver, suggesting someone watched them. My uncle's friend, shaken, performed a tribal purification ritual, believing dark spirits lingered. The case remained unsolved, and my uncle never returned. 2 Hocking Hills, haunted by what might have been more than deer in the dark. Story 2. A New Year's Eve nightmare. The cold is back. So bundle up and brace for a dark, unsettling tale. Last New Year's Eve, my friend Jess invited me to a beach festival with her boyfriend, Tyler, and our friend Haley. I'm usually a homebody for holidays, but the promise of rides, live bands, and fireworks lured me out. Jess asked me to pick them up, and since I didn't have my license, my dad drove us to Haley's beachside unit, a short walk from the festival. We thanked him, greeted Haley on her balcony, and caught up over drinks before heading to the warm, cotton candy-scented festival. We enjoyed rides, ate on the sand, and danced to classics like YMCA for hours. reveling in the rare freedom of no parental supervision. By 11 p.m., cashless and thirsty, we returned to Haley's for water. The walk back was quiet, and an uneasy feeling hit me, like being watched. I brushed it off as festival noise overload and moved to the group center. We ran into school friends, easing my nerves, and relaxed at Haley's with her mum and boyfriend. Haley got permission to sleep over at my place, and at 11:45 we headed back for the fireworks. Haley forgot her knee pain medication, so we returned to her unit. Jess seemed distracted, and when I asked, she brushed it off. She suggested we take a better lit path with families around, which we did. Halfway across the road, Jess whispered, "Don't look behind." 3 men in black hoodies, bandanas covering their faces, were following Usman Jess recognized from earlier. My earlier unease now made sense. They'd been watching us. Despite our height and strength, we were 18-year-old girls, and Jess's petite frame, Haley's medication, and my limp made us seem vulnerable. The men matched our pace, staring to intimidate. I used my hearing to track them across the road, avoiding eye contact to not provoke them. The path ended at bushes, and rather than get closer to the men, we cut through, wary of snakes. Halfway, we heard footsteps and sprinted, reaching the crowded festival. In the car park, I saw a metallic glinter, knife in the tallest man's hand. We hid among large groups, catching our breath despite our asthma. We stayed with the crowd, abandoning our plan to leave early, and my dad picked us up. Later, in the car park, I saw the men again, the tall one mockingly slicing his throat with a knife. We moved to a lit area, and my dad arrived soon after. We never spoke of it, but the memory chills me, knowing their intentions were far from innocent. Story 3. Terror in the logging woods with winter's chill creeping in. Cozy up for a dark, disturbing tale. My dad, a logger operating a trestle to fell massive trees, worked long 16 to 20-hour days alone, or with another operator, Renee, in remote forests. Paid by trees cut, he pushed hard while the crew cleaned up later. On a new mountain job, 10 days in, they heard garbled chatter on their radio, following them across channels as they climbed higher. They found odd containers and signs of unauthorized people in an area requiring a 2.5-hour drive and 3 weeks of road clearing. Isolated, with a week left, they grew uneasy. One day, Renee found a tent with a sleeping bag, a duffel bag containing children's underwear, rope, duct tape, disturbing sketches, and unaware-looking kids' photos, plus fresh food indicating recent use. Alarmed, Renee wanted to leave, but my dad, ever diligent, insisted on finishing. They limited radio use, overhearing to men discussing mundane tasks like gathering wood. At day's end, my dad tried confronting them over the radio, but they went silent. That night, Renee woke my dad to footsteps outside their camper. Unloaded gun in hand, my dad froze as the doorknob jiggled and the door opened. No ladder, just a jump. After minutes of scratching, my dad approached, only to be slashed across his face, falling hard. A man with a knife pinned him, another kicking his head. Renee tackled the attacker, and both men fled. My dad and Renee drove to a hospital, reported the incident, and quit. Weeks later, another crew member was found raped, murdered, and dumped. No one was convicted, and my dad's disfigured eye and PTSD haunt him, robbing him of peaceful sleep. Story 4. The gas station, creep as the cold settles in. Wrap up for a chilling story. At 19, I worked at a gas station in a quiet city area. Loved loving my job despite occasional creepy late-night visitors. A nearby ice cream shop and barber shop, owned by the same family, opened in the plaza. One summer day, the barber drove over a gas tank cover, exposing a piper hazard for sparks or rainwater. I went to fix it, noticing his odd stare. He complimented my appearance, which I brushed off with a quick thanks, uneasy but surrounded by people. I replaced the cover without bending down and returned to my counter. He later brought ice cream, apologizing for pulling me away, and jokingly asked for a kiss. Thinking he was harmless, I offered a hug, citing workplace rules. As I fixed a display, his hand grazed my behind. I stomped his foot, demanding he leave. He apologized, claiming it was his apron, but I realized the tank cover couldn't have been accidentally flipped. It required deliberate force. I told him to stay away, and he grabbed my arm, menacingly suggesting an affair. I threw out the ice cream and stayed calm. He began driving by after closing, waving or offering rides. I called friends during closing shifts and reported him to the police after seeing his car by the garbage bins, though it was just kids. After a date at his ice cream shop, he angrily threw ice cream at me, then lingered by the pumps, checking cameras. With an RCMP officer, I banned him from the gas station. He yelled threats, calling me names. A kind man, noticing my discomfort, gave me his police card, urging me to call. Later, he took a statement, but his lewd comment about my laptop's Halloween photo with my boyfriend made me uneasy. Months later, he texted inappropriately, suggesting I'd be less grouchy if I got laid. Scared, knowing he had my address, I deleted and blocked him. I quit soon after, shaken by his threats and the officer's behavior, wary of new people ever since. Story 5. The Stick Village Horror. As darkness falls, bundle up for a creepy tale. At 16, fresh with my license, I embarked on a 3-day solo hike. On day 2, while purifying water by a river, I heard wind chimes across the water. Curious, I found a dozen tiny houses made of sticks, bark, and logs, each a couple of feet tall, lining a path down a hill. At the bottom stood a full-sized house of the same materials, adorned with wind chimes and what I thought were animal pelts. Closer inspection revealed rotting carcasses, not just pelts. Panicked, I grabbed my bag and hiked through the night to escape, haunted by the chimes in my mind. The next day, I reached the rangers, reported the site, and pointed it out on a map. They promised to investigate, likely armed, to clear any unauthorized structures or people. I never returned, too scared to learn what they found, imagining a deranged hermit, or worse, lurking in those woods. Story 6. A New Year's stalker in Sydney. As the cold creeps in, cozy up for a chilling story. In 2009, at 19, I walked home from a New Year's Eve fireworks display in my safe, affluent Sydney neighborhood. My friends wanted a taxi, but I insisted on walking. We split near my street, and as I passed a cake shop, a man across the street glanced at me oddly. Paranoid, I hurried on. At 3:15 a.m., my dark street unnerved me. Near the bowling club, I avoided what looked like a dead animal on the path. Glancing back, I saw a shadowy figure, not too close, but too close for comfort. My heart raced. They'd appeared suddenly. I tried calling friends, but no one answered. Nearing my driveway, I saw the figure again, unsure if they were following or passing. Thinking it might be my brother, I rushed in, where my mum, thankfully awake, let me in. She said my brother was home, chilling me. I shut the door, grabbed water, and showered. Near the end, I heard an unnatural sound, like hands steadying on the bathroom window. I crouched, terrified, spotting small blue lights, like a phone keypad, outside. I bolted to my parents, trembling. My dad heard footsteps retreating, confirming it wasn't my imagination. I couldn't sleep, shaken by the thought of someone lurking. I now avoid walking home alone, especially at night, knowing danger can strike anywhere. Story 7. A sinister campsite mystery with winter's chill. Wrap up for a dark tale. My buddy Todd and I, both light sleepers, camped at a quiet Kansas State lake, reached by a mile-long gravel road through farmland. Our hilltop campsite was rarely used. After chatting by the fire until 1:30 a.m., we slept restlessly, sober too. Stay sharp. Morning revealed a large bottle of baby oil in front of our tent necks, planed and threatening. We packed and left, fearing worse. On another trip, we renegaded at a rural lake, camping illegally in dense locust woods with thorn-laden ropes like bloodied and jittery. We felt spiders crawling on us. At 3 a.m., Todd slapped my chest, screaming about spiders, flailing wildly. He bolted outside in his underwear, stopping when I warned about thorns. Calming, he said the spiders were gone, blaming new medication causing night terrors. Then, from the woods, a voice mimicked my warning. "Todd, you're gonna run into the thorns." Silent, we froze as it called again, impossibly moving hundreds of yards in seconds. Terrified, we couldn't flee through the thorns. Todd shouted back defiantly, and we built a massive fire, clutching knives until dawn. I never returned, haunted by that disembodied voice. Story 8. A New Year's Eve pursuit as the cold sets in. Settle in for a creepy tale. On New Year's Eve 2009, I visited a friend at university near my childhood home. 4 of us girls, mostly. Drunk, left the pubs to walk home around the walled park, a quicker but dimly lit route. Passing a back alley, we saw a man standing still, dressed in dark clothes, staring at us. My friend and I exchanged worried glances, but our drunken friend yelled Happy New Year. We dragged her away, speeding up as he followed. Closer to her terraced house, we feared he'd see where we lived, so we looped round the back, losing him. From her window, we saw him pacing across the street, peering into houses. We called the non-emergency police, who sent a car, and he vanished. The next morning, news reported a girl attacked on that road, shaking us. In 2014, I moved back, working late near the same park. Twice, I felt followed, escaping into shops, or meeting friends. One Friday at 1:30 a.m., a man asked for a light, then followed me. I hid in a funeral home carport, watching him search for me before giving up. My bosses refused to adjust my late shifts, suggesting costly taxis. I quit, unwilling to risk more encounters, haunted by how close we came to danger. Story 9. A casting. Call gone wrong as darkness falls. Brace for a terrifying tale. At 18, jobless after high school, I sought part-time work. My mum found a casting job in a newspaper, setting up a meeting without my input. Excited, I went to the run-down building at Bucharest's edge, with cracked bricks and no front door. A stairway led to a rotting wooden door. Skeptical, I called the contact, and a woman with a low voice guided me to push, then pull, the door. Warning of pitch blackness due to no electricity. I'd navigate to a lit hallway and their office. Suspicious but naive, I entered, finding darkness, chairs, and a tarp. The lit hallway was dark, and as I called again, the door creaked shut behind me. A Nokia ringtone echoed from across the room, stopping when my call did. Petrified, I crouched, hearing faint footsteps. I threw coins to distract and ran, tripping over a chair but escaping through the broken door. Outside, I saw a large man with a cloth, furious, chasing me. I sprinted to a taxi, told my mum, and reported it to the police. They found cannabis-laced blunts, a razor, and a broken Nokia, but no arrests. The trauma lingers, making job interviews in quiet places nerve-wracking. A New Year's Eve I'll never forget. Story 10. A coastal trail trap as the cold creeps in. Cozy up for a chilling story. As a kid hiking with my friend and his dad in a coastal national forest, I veered down an overgrown side trail to pee. A foul stench, stronger than on the main trail, hit me. At a tree, I found scattered trash and a cardboard sign reading, "Come and find me," with an arrow pointing deeper. The smell burned my nose, conjuring images of a corpse or worse. Too scared to continue, I returned without peeing, saying nothing, until I couldn't hold it. Later, back in town, my friend's dad reported it to the sheriff. I don't know what they found, but I imagine a suicidal hermit or a killer's grim display. The stench and signs still haunt